My name is Emily Carter, and for a long time I believed that love meant being patient. I believed marriage was about compromise, about enduring uncomfortable moments together, about trusting that even when things felt unbalanced, your partner would show up when it truly mattered. I believed all of that until the day my husband packed his suitcase and walked out the door while I was 9 months pregnant. Before I tell you what happened next, let me ask you something. If your partner abandoned you at the most vulnerable moment of your life, would you still believe they loved you? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy emotional, real-life inspired stories like this, do not forget to like and subscribe. Ryan and I had been married for 4 years. We met in our late 20s, when everything still felt full of possibility. He was charming, confident, and adventurous. I was grounded, organized, and believed deeply in building a stable life. In the beginning, our differences felt complementary. I told myself that his need for freedom balanced my need for security. When I became pregnant, I expected something in him to change. I expected responsibility to settle in, the way people always say it does. Instead, the closer I got to my due date, the more distant Ryan became. He stayed out later. He spent more time on his phone. He talked constantly about how everything was about to change. I was 38 weeks pregnant when he brought up the trip. It was a quiet evening. I was sitting on the couch with my feet elevated, trying to ease the constant ache in my lower back. Ryan walked in holding his phone, smiling in a way that instantly made my stomach tighten. "My friends are planning one last trip," he said. "Just a few days. Before the baby comes." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. When none came, I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me. "Ryan," I said slowly, "I could go into labor any day." He sighed, already irritated. "You are not due yet. Doctors give people due dates all the time, and nothing happens." I reminded him of the appointments, the warnings, the fact that this was our first baby. He brushed it off. "You will be fine," he said. "Your mom lives nearby. And hospitals exist for a reason." That sentence hurt more than I expected. Hospitals exist. As if my fear, my pain, my need for him were inconveniences easily outsourced. That night, I lay awake listening to him text his friends, laughing quietly beside me while I counted the minutes between discomfort and panic. I wanted him to look at me and realize how scared I was. He never did. The morning he left, I helped him pack. I folded his clothes carefully, my hands shaking, hoping that if I stayed calm enough, loving enough, he would change his mind. He kissed my forehead and promised he would answer his phone. I stood in the doorway and watched him leave, telling myself it was only a few days. That evening, I saw the photo he posted online. Ryan, smiling on a beach, drink in hand, captioned, "Last adventure before dad life." I stared at the screen until my chest felt tight. I did not cry yet. But something inside me cracked. 2 days after Ryan left, my body made a decision that neither of us could ignore. I woke up in the middle of the night with a pain so sharp it stole my breath. I sat up slowly, my heart racing, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Then another contraction came. Stronger. Closer. I reached for my phone and called Ryan. Voicemail. I texted him. "I think I am in labor." No response. I waited, timing the contractions, each one stealing a little more of my calm. When they reached 5 minutes apart, fear took over. I called my mother, my voice breaking as I told her I needed help. She arrived quickly, panic written all over her face, and drove me to the hospital while I cried in the passenger seat, humiliated and terrified that my husband was not there. At the hospital, nurses moved efficiently, helping me into a bed, attaching monitors, asking questions I struggled to answer through the pain. One of them asked gently, "Is the father on his way?" "Yes," I said automatically. I did not know why I said it. Hours passed. I stared at the door every time footsteps echoed in the hallway. My phone remained silent. My mother held my hand and whispered encouragement, but all I could think about was the empty space where Ryan should have been. Then the doctor came in with a serious expression. The baby's heart rate was dropping. Everything moved fast after that. The room filled with people. Instructions were shouted. Fear wrapped around my chest so tightly I could barely breathe. I screamed Ryan's name, not because I believed he would appear, but because my body needed him there. He was not. I gave birth without my husband. I heard my baby cry before I saw him, a sound that cut through everything else. For a moment, the fear disappeared. They placed him on my chest briefly, and I felt a love so overwhelming it made me dizzy. And at the same time, a heartbreak so deep it nearly crushed me. Ryan called 6 hours later. His voice sounded relaxed. Almost cheerful. "I just saw your messages," he said. "Are you okay?" "I had the baby," I replied. Silence followed. "What do you mean you had the baby?" "I mean he is here," I said quietly. "And you were not." Ryan began explaining. His phone died. He was on the water. There was no signal. I did not argue. I did not cry. I hung up the phone. Ryan returned 2 days later, carrying flowers and guilt. He tried to hug me, but I turned away. He held our son awkwardly, like someone afraid of breaking something he did not fully understand. "I am sorry," he said over and over. "I never thought it would happen so fast." I listened quietly and realized something that surprised me. I did not miss him. Over the following weeks, Ryan acted as if the trip was an unfortunate misunderstanding, something time would smooth over. He helped when asked, but he never anticipated needs. He never truly showed up. One night, while feeding my son alone in the quiet house, I understood something with terrifying clarity. I would never beg someone to choose me again. I contacted a lawyer quietly. I leaned on my mother. I began planning a life where my worth was not optional. When I told Ryan I wanted a separation, he looked shocked. "You are overreacting," he said. "No," I replied calmly. "I am responding." Months later, he told people he lost his family suddenly. He never mentioned the trip. He never mentioned the phone calls he ignored. I did not correct him. I did not need to. Today, I am raising my son in a home filled with peace instead of disappointment. I learned that abandonment does not always look like leaving forever. Sometimes, it looks like choosing freedom over responsibility at the exact moment it matters most. And sometimes, that moment gives you all the clarity you will ever need. If this story moved you, leave your thoughts in the comments. Would you have forgiven him, or would that moment change everything for you? Like this video if you believe showing up matters. Subscribe for more stories about quiet strength, hard choices, and the moments that define who we become. Love is not what someone promises. Love is what they choose when it matters most.